Good morning to you, wherever you're listening from in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, online, wherever. Good morning to you. It's Thursday, the 25th of January, 2024. My name is Gesiere Agua. This is a it's a very interesting day that we're going to have, the conversation that we're going to have this morning. Unfortunately, Simeon Sunday is under the weather. He'll be with us tomorrow. Today he's under the weather. But hey, we're going to do this together and enjoy ourselves. At 7:30 already, I'll reach out to Mr. El-Rufai Oseni, and we'll be doing this together up until 8 a.m. And then from 8 a.m. we'll run solo up until 8:30. All right, let's have a wonderful show this morning. On the headlines, this is Frontpage Review, by the way. If you're just joining us for the first time, this is Frontpage Review, and we'll be checking out a couple of headlines and see how they affect you as a Nigerian, us as Nigerians, and Nigeria as a whole. Well, the president is on a private visit to France, and that is in lieu of what exactly happened in Plateau State just after the governor of the state imposed a curfew on the state. We were having over 30 persons who were killed and several houses destroyed yesterday in Mangu local government area of Plateau State. We're going to be checking out just how that exactly is playing out, because the PDP and the Labour Party are asking questions on Tinubu's France private visit and why he's away when there's such an issue going on in Plateau State. To be seen if the president should actually be in the country to oversee what happens in states, as opposed to the governors themselves doing what they can to ensure security and the safety of their citizens. We're having also in the headlines, Nigeria's power grid collapsed 46 times in 6 years. This is according to the International Energy Agency. They said this yesterday. And we're also having the EFCC on a case against the former governor Willie Obiano, a 4 billion naira theft. EFCC lines up about 15 witnesses against Willie Obiano. We'll be looking at how that will pan out in just a moment. PDP closes and rakes in 235 million naira from the Edo governorship form sale from 11 aspirants. Just how much are these political parties making in this issue of sales of sales of forms, and why are we having so many individuals throwing their hats in the ring for something so expensive? Is this the reason why we do not have effective governance? We'll be looking at all that in just a moment. Don't forget that we're live on YouTube at Voice of the People Abuja. Voice of the People Abuja. And you can also join the conversation by leaving a comment in the comment section on that. I'll get to it when I can. And then you can also call the studio line. It is at 0700 010 961 961 0700 010 961 961. We'll try to get to El-Rufai Oseni this morning, just as we're checking out other headlines as well. Now, we're having also the Ibadan explosion, where victims are still missing. This is according to the Resident Association. 10 Ibadan explosion victims are still missing in Ibadan. And also there were plans, there were speculations rather, about a plan to move the Federal Capital Territory to Lagos State. We'll look at how that affects us as well. Good morning to you, El-Rufai, and welcome.
Bless you so much, Gussie. Bless you, Simon. Morning, guys.
All right, Simeon is unavailable this morning, but we're looking at the headlines this morning. Yes, we're looking at the headlines this morning, and we're having the president on a private visit to France. First of all, we're at the wake of so many issues as a country. We're facing a lot economically, security wise, energy wise. We're facing a lot of issues, and the PDP Deputy National Publicity Secretary Ibrahim Abdullahi has stated that the insecurity and the state of the nation's economy made it the worst time for the president to embark on a foreign trip. What
I'm
exactly is your
shocked.
take?
I'm shocked that the president has embarked on a so-called private trip without telling the taxpayers what he's going there to do to France. A lot of people have made many suggestions, but he's going to be spending our money to park his presidential jets there. He's going to be spending hard-earned taxpayers' money at a time when Mangu was just raided again. And the people are saying that they don't have faith again in forces, security forces, because of the fact that they sense complicity. I mean, how can you have a curfew? Formally, in this country, once you have a curfew, it's a cessation of everything. How can you have a curfew and people still break that curfew and attack others? Churches are burnt, and the president's reaction to that was to check out on his own private visits. How interesting.
Rufai, some people will argue that if a presidency or if the government is working the way it's supposed to, the president and the governors do not need to see for an effective run or effective smooth run of governance.
I do not subscribe to that argument, and I'll tell you why. The way our country is run is still largely a unitary system. Everything goes to the top. You don't have state police, you don't have state paraphernalia. There's so little the governors can do. So the president must be on ground every time to be able to ensure that things are done properly. And now in the middle of all this, you're going for 2 weeks at the expense of people. I have not seen any message from the presidency as regards the killings. It's as if we have become immune and insensitive to the plight of people and their killings. We just act like nothing is happening. We move on like nothing is happening. Nothing rocks us again. Nothing hurts us. Nothing pains us again. We cannot build a country this way. And the president must be held accountable. Wherever he's gone, he must tell Nigerians what's the meaning of that private visits. How many world leaders that you see that just stand up and go and they say they are going on a private visit somewhere? Have you ever heard that from Joe Biden? Ordinary, the Lloyd Austin entered the emergency, the ER unit to do a surgery. I mean, to do a follow-up for a cancer surgery. And because he was incommunicado, he caused a big storm in America. And people said he ought to have reported. That's the National Security Advisor. He ought to have reported and made himself know what was going on. But in Nigeria, the president just wakes up one morning, goes on a private visit at the expense of taxpayers' money, and he expects us. So maybe he will not say he's going to bring private investors from the private visits. We are waiting. We should do better in this country.
All right, Mr. Rufai, you did mention Plateau State. And at this point in time, my heart goes out to the people of Plateau State. Plateau State is one state that has been predominantly peaceful. You have a lot of Nigerians who...
Yes, with due respect, I disagree with you. That's not been predominantly peaceful.
Mr. Rufai, the reason why I say this is because we have a lot of Nigerians who grew up there before this issue of insecurity became very bad. We have a lot of Nigerians, Igbos, who moved from the
but there
east
was
the north.
insecurity to them. There was insecurity to them. There are copious evidences that show that there was constantly been insecurity and riots. We'll take you way back to the Jos riots in 2000s, the early 2000s. There's been constant insecurity in the states. I would not want to say it's been predominantly peaceful. No.
So what exactly can we do at this point? Because I wanted to touchlight this issue of a curfew. You did mention that it was effective, in those days. But now, how effective is it in managing? I brought this up with Simeon yesterday. We talked about it and just how effective a curfew, imposing a curfew is on fighting crime in a country.
Obviously, there's complicity. And that's why the people are starting. Because if you have a curfew and anybody breaks a curfew to attack, it should be met with heavy force. So how is that despite the fact that when the state declares a curfew and it says, I want to bring out the highest amount of force in my arsenal, and some people still break that curfew and they could attack. So what's going on here? Why are we not telling ourselves the truth? So when you have a large level of complicity, it's always the problem. So there's complicity as regards what's happening. And
complicity that's what the people on whose part exactly?
The security forces part now. The people said a copious reportage And they don't trust the military again. Let's call it spade a spade. They don't trust the military again. They don't trust the military. And that's why when you say it's predominantly peaceful, I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it not around that area we had the Irigwe crisis that we still had under Lava?
Yes, yes.
So it's not been peaceful. It's been a cesspit of violence, untold violence and untold hardship for the people.
Mr. Rufai, if you look at the 1980s, this is pre-2000s. I mean, the first episode of the mass violence in Jos, you know, since the anti-Igbo programs in 1966 occurred in 2001. So before that, we were still having a peaceful state. But now we're seeing from 2000 down, we're having, you know, a barrage of issues with Plateau State. What exactly can even be done in that state?
Predominantly peaceful, I ask you, guys. Does that mean because you said it's been predominantly? It's not been predominantly peaceful. 2001, when you had the first just crisis, and before then you had other crises. Obviously, the records you will see there, if you Google, are not the records that, because Google historical antecedents will only give you from newspaper reportage from about 1998, 1999, 2000. Because obviously, you know, there was no proliferation of the internet there, so there was no recordings. But if you read newspaper, even in the 90s, there were skirmishes in Jos. So what Google is telling you is only memory from 2001. Even if you read in the newspaper, in the 90s, there were skirmishes in Jos.
All right.
The Syria was beautiful and all of that, yes. You know, there was rich cultural exchange, yes. But there were always skirmishes. Just like there were always skirmishes in Kaduna. If you go and read back in history, the Zango Kataf crisis dates way back to the 40s. So there were always skirmishes back and forth. It's just that the 2000 there was a heightening of religious crisis. If you remember the crisis that happened that elicited another crisis in Kano from Shagamu here close to me, you know, close to me in my village in Odogulu in 1998. That one also elicited. So it's just that Google will tell you from 2001 and everything. Google can give you. Can Google give you newspaper cuttings of 1994, 1995? They can't. Yeah, because what you feed Google now, it will record us. So,
all right.
So they've always been violent.
Mr. Rufai, we're having a situation here where we're having issues with indigents, non-indigents. I mean, it can surface in different contexts. We can have different groups fighting over political positions, the use of land, and all that. What exactly can we do to help the people of Jos, help the people of Plateau State? Because
number one is honesty. Let's be honest about the plights and the sufferings of these people, and let's make justice and fairness. See, those people that are coming to fight the people of their land in Jos, are they the true owners? They're not the true owners. You can't have invaders come and invade people's land and you expect them to keep quiet. They are not original to those areas, and that's the truth. So let's be honest, and let's not say because there's a population of the military, certain groups and things like that, and there's a leading. No, let's be honest. It is righteous. Have you ever wondered why the Bible says righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach? It is righteousness that can exalt a nation. The problem is we are not right standing. There's no righteousness. Righteousness means fairness, right standing. But a lot of people are not. So people are being killed for their land and all of that. These are not the true owners of the land. And you need a government that will stand firm, irrespective of political consideration or because they want to win elections. That's why you're seeing a lot of these reprisal actions.
Mr. Rufai, have we had any of the presidents so far? Have we had any of them sort of put their sort of coming into this particular situation where we're saying, you know what, okay, we know you want to, in case of the farmers' headers, right? Is there a situation where we've had any of the presidents, come into this situation and sort of help galvanize, sort of resolve the situation?
See, in all fairness, Bessie, as long as, and let me tell you, when you are seeing all those Google reports in 2001, the reason why it's heightened also was a return to democracy. as long as these politicians see that, oh, they don't want to tilt on one side or another side because of votes in the end, there's no how you're going to have problems. Probably, and please, you can challenge me on this. Probably the only people that have, of some seeming sort, managed this crisis properly, and they didn't do a good job, it's just that they used brute force, has been the military. Honestly, has been the military. When the military were around, they probably had, but it was a lot of brute force. It was a lot of brute, that still led to a lot of reprisals. But having a statesman, it takes a statesman to sit down and call the warring factions. They've had a lot of those meetings, but when you now see that the state tilted towards, I mean, you remember the last time, there were allegations that there was some bias, even by the governor, to some groups, over some groups, because of politics. So when you have people that politics is in the mix, see, once politics gets into the mix, it just makes the waters very murky. And that's why we've not had a lasting solution. And like I said, you can challenge me on that assertion I said, though, that the only seeming resemblance, but it's only brute force that those ones use the military. So it's only brute force that causes more reprisal. So in the end, we've not really been able to tackle all of these matters. And you know, there's also that talk about extension of territory, the caliphate, that understanding and all of that. So some people have argued it's conspiracy theory, but some people are saying it's evidence, because people keep encroaching on land, and the authorities cannot, defend the rights of people that are supposed to be on the land, and people are not saying they're complicit. So what do you want people to be able to do? I mean, we're just talking about the Irigwe case. You remember the Irigwe case now?
Yes.
Do you remember the Irigwe case now? So now almost everybody is saddled with this. Now it's Mango, at some point it was Bokos and all of that. So forget it. There's always been skirmishes on the plateau. Probably better managed and all of that, but there's always been skirmishes one way or the other. Probably what people will say is that maybe it didn't get into the main town and all of that. So maybe the seeming assurance of peace you're talking about, probably maybe it didn't get into some parts of the main town of Jos, but there's probably always been skirmishes, and it's because people are not ready to do what is right, and that's why we're not ready.
All right, moving away, not necessarily moving away from security, because we're talking about security votes and the case brought against the former governor Willie Obiano. The EFCC lining up about 15 witnesses against Willie Obiano. Mr. El-Rufai, this issue of security votes. Now, we know that it is one thing that the security vote spending is not subjective to legislative oversight or independent audit because of its ostensibly sensitive nature, quote unquote. That's what they always say. But at this point in time, what is the relevance of bringing up this case against Willie Obiano when the EFCC knows that security vote spending is not subjective to legislative oversight? So what's the validity of this case?
But you have to still account for it because it's still government money. I don't know if you get my point. I know it's a very dirty habit, this security vote something. It's one of these bad things we learned from the military. And it was pretty much money to be able to, give to the boys and cool down warring factions. But truth has to be told, it still needs to be accounted for. As long as it's money that is generated from taxpayers' money, Governor Obiano, no governor should be found dipping their hands into the cookie jar. But I can't judge Obiano because the court has not made a pronouncement on him. And even if the court made a pronouncement on him, he can still appeal unless he access all his appeal. I mean, remember the case. Even when the court convicted Ojus Okalu, he went on appeal and he was released. And he's a free man today. So I can't judge anybody. Let them fully go through the legal system.
Well, Mr. El-Rufai, at this point, isn't it wasting taxpayers' monies to go through this legal process? That's on the part of the EFCC, to go through this legal process and then have him being released eventually.
Would you respect guess? I'm not going to say it's wasting taxpayers' money. It's accountability. You have to. So, how about the lives that have been affected adversely for the man not using the money to do what he ought to do? So, accountability needs to be the order of the day. That's just it.
Mr. Rufai, if we're giving states security votes, billions of funds, why exactly then do we have a situation where governors who are supposed to be security chiefs of their state not being able to use these funds to at least quell the different issues in their state as it regards security?
Because one, they lack accountability. Two, there's an underfunding of the police, so they don't get enough police even in the states to police the state. I'll give you an instance. I think somebody was talking about in Katsina State, there are only a few thousands of police officers in Katsina State. All right? So they don't get enough policing. And that's why if we, like the APC claimed before they were coming in, they were going to give us state police. If there were state police, for instance, that security vote could have been used to fund state police. But also, they must be regulated properly. Because we've also heard cases that politicians might probably want to use them for their own selfish interests. But, fairness, kudos to the likes of Akeredolu. He's going to be buried in the month of February, and kudos to him while he was alive. He never used Amotekun. In fact, and Amotekun did a decent job. So probably if they can use that, what is it called, as a base fund, security vote as a base fund for funding the state police, and now allow states to set up like in Lagos, like what Lagos do, that they have a police trust fund. So that private sector and women in India can also put money in the security fund to be able to aid, what's it called, our security and subsidize it. I think that will go a long way. So that's a model probably for funding it.
All right, that's an interesting look on this particular situation. Away from security and moving on to politics, we're seeing the Edo state is hot right now, and we're looking at PDP closing the forms of their governorship aspirants, and they're raking in 235 million naira from 11 aspirants. Mr. Rufai, when we have nominations forms sold at these exorbitant prices, right, are we ever going to see clean, fair, transparent governance when these individuals who, after putting in their hard-earned money, the monies that they've either stolen from wherever or hustled for, quote unquote, in whatever ramification, right, after getting these monies and throwing their hats in the ring, eventually when they get into the governorship seat, right, are we ever going to see free and fair governance? After putting in so much of your money, are we not going to see 4 years of you trying to recoup that money back?
No, you're correct. You're absolutely correct. And that's why we must demystify this over monetization. And guess it, do you know how we can do it? Should I tell you how?
Please do.
Put in the constitution independent candidacy. Nullify the powers of the fact that a political party as a platform must nominate you or sponsor you. Put independent candidacy. As long as you meet the threshold and requirements to get on the ballot, put independent candidacy. Pure and simple. As long as the political party now lose the power as the sole platform to be able to sponsor you, then when many Nigerians can come out, you can, for instance, can come out and say, okay, you know what, I want to run for Abuja Municipal Council. And you will, as long as you have your airtime, and you say, oh, I don't have the money, but this is what I'm going to do and all of that. People that will vote for you will vote for you. But the problem is when we are putting this, platform, it has to be this, it has to be that, it has to be this, it has to be that. Once you can nullify that, then that's it. Then you can be able to build your movement that can morph into your own political party, but it must not be like a generalistic pre-existing platform. Look at it. Macron, when he came out, there was no big political party backing him. Then he set up his own movement, La République En Marche.
He wrote a book about it. Then people bought into his ideology and they gave him. It was not the traditional party of the left or the right or the Front Nationals of this world, or what is it called? No. So that, I think, will be a silver bullet to solving that challenge. Guess I gotta go. Have a blessed day.
Thank you so much.
I pray that we have sincerity to resolve this crisis, ever-ending crisis in the plateau. Guessy, it has always been the case as regards one riot or the other. In Jos, in firearms, dating back to yesteryears. Sometimes it takes an ethnic dimension. You know?
All right.
Yes, it has always been the case. And it's sad that this is still happening.
Thank you so much, Mr. El-Rufai. Have a good day.
Bless you. Yeah, bye-bye. Yeah.
All right, we'll go ahead and pay some bills. When we come back, I'll be looking at some other headlines that we haven't touchlighted. But hey, do well to send a message on YouTube. We're live on YouTube. It's at Voice of the People Abuja. Leave a comment, or you can call 0700 010 961 961. I'll take that again, 0700 010 961 961. Let's know what you think about our headlines so far. We'll be breaking some of these issues down, and I'll be getting your point of view, because we are Voice of the People and we need your voice on this incessant killings of individuals. You're having over 30 people killed. Houses, that's properties. In this 2024, someone spent money to build a house and you are burning it to the ground. Individuals who have, at this point in time, you have to look at this issue as a personal thing. Imagine if your people were living in Plateau State, in that Mangu local government area, and these are the reports you're getting from that area. What exactly would you say to the government of the state, the government of the federal government, and looking at the fact that the president has just jetted out of the country in a situation at a time where Nigeria is very, very, very delicate. We have the naira and dancing to the tune of the dollar, and we have the economy moving in ways that we don't understand. We have insecurity here and there, kidnappings within the capital, the federal capital territory. You have kidnappings. I saw a report in Ogun State where a child was put in a bag and kidnapped. You have situations all over the country here and there, people running amok, bandits here and there, and the president is leaving the country, not notifying us, on telling us it's a private visit. What exactly could be more important than securing the lives of the individuals who chose you to govern them? We'll look more at this when we come back from this break. Stay with us.
Others may drop the mic. I talk into it. If you're in need of a voice, well, I've got one.
Voice of the People, 96.1 FM.
Are you traveling to Lagos and desire a perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42 Murtala Mohammed International Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in our beautiful appointed rooms, featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Now, whether you are traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your every need is met. We also offer complimentary pick-up and drop from the Lagos Airport.
Why not take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant?
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So why wait? Book your stay today and experience the ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
Believe me, believe me.
Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less.
We have been serving you hot and fresh content on radio, and you have been loving it. Now we're taking it further. Catch us live on YouTube at VOP TV for all the juicy content you can't resist. Talk shows, exclusive interviews, news, lifestyle, and more. It's all about you. VOP TV, show up, speak up.
Catch the thrill, every score.
For Osimhen, what a save, but no, it goes in.
And every loss.
Talking about the shot, that's a good deflection, it's a corner.
VOP AFCON updates on VOP 96.1 FM. Weekdays at 12:40 p.m. Sponsors Romeo Pizza and Goldberry Ice Cream.
Talk.
Before you even announce a result, you should have the CTC waiting.
Keep talking.
If you want to tax people, you must provide them service.
Don't stop talking.
If anybody is telling that I'm a mole, that person is just being mischievous.
Hey, it's your right to talk.
We are Voice of the People.
This is Frontpage Review. Weekdays at 7:30. Now you have a voice.
You're welcome back. This is still Front Page Review on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. We're live on YouTube. It is at Voice of the People Abuja. Voice of the People Abuja. Join us. We're having a very interesting conversation this morning. We're checking out the headlines. Earlier we were joined by El-Rufai, who helped us put a little bit of context to some of these issues that we'll be discussing this morning. I'm just going to highlight them once again and let you have the opportunity to call and let us know what you think about them. My name is Gesiri, by the way, and we're having the president, the PDP and the Labour Party asking questions on Tinubu's France private visit. PDP LP asks questions on Tinubu's France private visit. Now, the PDP and the Labour Party on Wednesday demanded an explanation as President Bola Tinubu departed Abuja for France on what the presidency described as a private visit. The PDP Deputy National Publicity Secretary Ibrahim Abdullahi stated that the insecurity and the state of the nation's economy made it the worst time for Tinubu to embark on a foreign trip. This was as the spokesman for the LP 2023 Presidential Campaign Council, Yunusa Tanko, alleged that there was a hidden agenda for the trip and mentioned that the president was sick. President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday had departed Abuja for Paris, France, for a private visit. The special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngalale, revealed this in a statement titled President Tinubu Travels to France. The statement did not state the reasons for the visit. Ngalale said he will return to the country in the first week of February 2024. Now, if you recall, this is the third visit of the president since he assumed office 8 months ago. Now, on June 20th, 2023, just 3 weeks after assuming office, the president opened his foreign schedule in the city he last visited as president-elect. If you remember, he visited, the city of France just before, when he was still, when he was still a presidential candidate, rather. He visited France, and then he last visited as president-elect Paris, the French capital. During his 4-day stay, he participated in the Paris summit for the new global financial pact. That was to review and sign a new global financial pact, which placed vulnerable countries on the priority list for support and investment. This was, looking at the devastating impact of climate change, energy crisis, and then the after effect of COVID-19 pandemic, right? And then in September 2023, the president spent 9 days with world leaders in New York, USA, at the 78th United Nations General Assembly, which began in September 19th, his first UNGA as president. And then afterward, he proceeded to Paris, France, where he remained for 5 days, arriving in Abuja September 29th, ahead of our Independence Day. Now, looking at this, some people have been talking about the fact that could this be a health-related visit? Because we're saying it's a private visit. Could it be a health-related visit? What other private business does the president of the country, at a time as sensitive as this, have with another country, another city? Right, we'll have situations where the PDP scribe Abdullahi, in a phone interview with Punch newspaper, challenged the presidency to come clean regarding the president's travel to Paris, France. He said the feelers we're having are that the president has gone for medical treatment as usual, because that is where his doctors are. So we challenge the presidency to come clean and explain to us the details of his ailment. Though he's been around for some time, we commend his decision to stay back, but we would also want it to be sustained. For now, we're wishing him well, and we're asking his handlers to come clean and tell us what exactly is disturbing him and what he has gone for, and how he intends to avoid incessant trips, because looking at the machinery of the state and the life of over 250 million Nigerians are in his hands. Now, the question to you as a Nigerian today is, look around you. Look at your security. Look at the purchasing power of the naira. Look at everything that you're going through. We have situations where the presidency, you have situations where the ministers, you have situations where different individuals within the federal government are coming to tell us as Nigerians to sacrifice, to just tarry. Things will get better, especially economic wise, right? You have situations where they're telling us to, don't worry, sacrifice, we'll sacrifice now, we'll bear the pain right now, things will get better. And we're seeing a situation where, when Nigerians are sacrificing, quote unquote, you have the president jet out of the country. What could be more important to a president, to 250 million Nigerians at a time like this? Let's move on to Plateau State and see what's going on in that particular state. This is just a couple of hours. If you recall, yesterday Simeon and I talked about the curfew in Plateau State, right? This was just after a farmers' herders crisis, right? You're having over 30 people killed. Houses are burnt as gunmen defy the curfew. Isn't that a slap on the governor's face? And then, on the president's face as well, because you have a situation where the governor doesn't have the authority to say, okay, security agencies, come and do this, come and do that, go here, go there. They must get instruction from the federal government, right? In that particular situation, where is the president? We haven't even heard a statement from the presidency as regards what exactly is going on in the territory of Governor Caleb Mutfwang after he has declared a 24-hour curfew in Mangu. Looking at the security situation in that area, looking at just how delicate a Plateau State has been so far, incessant issues, incessant series of insecurity in that particular state's lives properties destroyed. You're having 30 persons killed. This is just for this one particular attack. Now, if you do a cumulative report on the number of people we've seen in the news, now not even on site, in the news only, because we know these are cases that were reported. There were other cases that are unreported, that go unreported. You have a situation where you calculate how many people have died so far in Plateau State. Isn't it high time we got sincerity of purpose on the part of the government, the federal government and the governor of the state, to ensure that indigenes and non-indigenes cohabitate peacefully? Isn't it high time that we saw the government, the president, jump in this particular situation to say, okay, you know what, let me come in here, let me solve the situation, let's talk about this, let's dialogue. We always talk about dialogues, right? So in this situation, how much of good faith have we seen with the government, the security outfits, the presidency, the federal government as a whole, in handling the state of security in Nigeria as a whole, but also in Plateau State? What exactly is your take on this? Give me a call, 0700 010 961 961, 0700 010 961 961. Do you feel safe knowing that the president, who is meant to protect, is meant to instruct individuals to protect you, has left the country on a private visit 2 weeks in February? That's when he's supposed to return. Looking at this situation in the country, what exactly is your reaction to this? And then we're looking also at a situation of a 4 billion naira theft. The EFCC lines up about 15 witnesses against Willie Obiano. The EFCC says it will be calling 15 witnesses to prove the 4 billion naira theft charges it filed against the former governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano. The prosecuting counsel of the EFCC, Silvanus Tahir, SAN, disclosed this on Wednesday, shortly after Obiano was arraigned on a 9-count charges before the Federal High Court in Abuja. After Obiano pleaded not guilty to the charges before Justice Ian Geko, the prosecutor said the EFCC was ready and eager to prove and prosecute the case, noting that 15 witnesses were on hand to prove the case. However, Obiano's lawyer Ikbazu SAN urged the judge to release the ex-governor on bail, saying that an application had already been filed for his bail to that effect. Let's check out that particular statement.
The defendant was on administrative bail. He was admitted to 2 shorties who are all directors, have landed properties within the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Then his passport, the international passport, travel document was seized and was with the commission. Anytime he had reason to travel, he will apply and it will be given to him. So the court essentially adopted the administrative bail conditions that the defendant enjoyed while on administrative bail.
Opposing the prayer, the prosecutor said that he was only served with the bail application on Wednesday morning and he needed time to reply. He urged the judge to adjourn the hearing and send Obiano to prison in the meantime. However, the judge asked Tahir if Obiano had been on administrative bail before, to which he said yes. The judge then said he would adopt the administrative bail, but added the condition that Obiano's movement would be restricted to the court's jurisdiction. Now, Justice Eko ordered the EFCC to deposit the defendant's travel documents with the court registrar. The registrar must notify the Nigerian Immigration Service of the development and should verify the address of the land documents of the 2 directors in the civil service who are his shorties. He subsequently adjourned the case up until March 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th for the continuation of the trial. Now, let's look at this case as a whole. The EFCC has alleged that Obiano diverted Anambra State security votes to the tune of 4 billion 8,573,350 while he was in the saddle as governor between 2014 and 2022. Now, the EFCC has accused him of indirectly transferring through his private principal secretary 1.2 billion naira from the State Security Votes account to another account belonging to Moment of Peace Ventures, an entity who's got no business with the state. Now, the anti-graft agency also has accused him of indirectly transferring a sum of 860,716,200 from the State Security Votes account through his private principal secretary, Willie Wonkoye, to Udo Ventures, another entity who's got no business with the government for reasons unrelated to security affairs. Now, Obiano was further accused of transferring the sum of 659,112,900 from the State Security Vote account through Mokoye to an account belonging to Nasdaq Ventures. Now, if you look at this particular situation, you can understand that this problem of security votes has reared its ugly head once again. You have, governors who use security votes for whatever they choose, because constitutionally your security votes is not privy to scrutiny by is not privy to legislative oversight or independent audits, maybe because of the sensitive nature of security, quote unquote. So at this point in time, should we not look back at the security vote? Should we not ask the National Assembly to scrap it out completely, since we're not giving the governors that the full arm of the law is not allowing the governors do what it should do, in essence of protecting lives and properties within the state? Should we not have a situation where the legislators do what they know how to do best, which is create laws, and maybe a constitutional review to ensure that this issue of security vote be scrapped out? Because we've seen a clear case. Anyway, this case is still in court, but we're still seeing situations where governors just use the security votes. If a governor decides that, okay, the AC in my office isn't working well, let me go ahead, it's a security case. It's a security case because what if the governor falls and faints, or falls and dies from maybe heat, or he's sweating too much, and then you have a security situation in your hand? So we have a situation where governors are just to define whatever they think security is, and they are allowed to do whatever they can with security votes. We need to have a clamp down on this. Thousands, billions of dollars are being spent on this particular issue of security votes. Now, if you look at security votes and how much each state is getting, let's check that out. If you have this particular situation, you have a situation where state governors and local government chairmen in the country spend a total sum of 375 billion naira on security votes, right? This issue of security votes, we need to clamp down on it. Now, the federal government spending on security from 2016 to 2022 in billion naira from 2011 to 2015 was 4.6 trillion naira. If you look at from 2016 to 2022, that figure has increased exponentially to 12.14 trillion naira on security votes alone. This is outrageous. You're having a situation where each state still gets the security votes, but we're still seeing situations of insecurity in the state. You're still seeing situations of insecurity in different states. You're having Ogun State, you're having in the east, you're having all over Nigeria situations like this. What can be done? You have the opportunity to call me up 0700 010 961 961. 0700 010 961 961. Moving on to another headline here, we're seeing Nigeria's power grid collapsed 46 times in 6 years. This is according to the International Energy Agency, and they said this on Wednesday. Now, according to this report, Nigerians endured more nationwide blackouts in 2023, especially on September 14th, when the grid collapsed due to a fire on a major transmission line. The IEA said Nigeria had grappled with recurrent power failures, totaling 46 grid collapses between 2017 and 2023. It was said that Nigeria's grid continued to face issues due to aged infrastructure and vandalism. Deterioration of power infrastructure, it was learned, increased dependency on backup generators for 40% of electricity consumption in Nigeria. Now, although the country has a total installed capacity of about 13 gigawatts, average available capacity remained at 4.5 gigawatts in 2023 due to a combination of factors such as deteriorating units, poor maintenance, and liquidity constraints. I'm having a cold this morning. Pardon me if you're hearing a couple of sneezes here and there, but the work must go on. Unreliable power supply due to limited grid infrastructure, underinvestment, and ineffective regulatory frameworks. They've resulted in an estimated 40% of all the electricity consumed in the country being produced from backup generators. At this point in time, what exactly happens to our maintenance culture? If things are not working in your home, you call the repairman to fix it. If the pipes in your house has plumbing issues, you call the plumber. If you have if the chairs in your house is squeaking, or there's one cupboard door that is hanging askew in one way or the other, you call the carpenter to come do his job. Why do we not transfer that level of maintenance to government properties? We look at it as though it is not it's not our property. We say, it's the federal government's property. It's our property. So we need to also exercise that maintenance culture, improve on it to ensure that we have infrastructure that works. We make investments in these we put billions of taxpayers' monies into investments such as this. Should we not also, with that same vigor, with that same ginger that we used to push funds into that particular investment, should we not also use that same energy to take proper care of those investments? We also have a forex scandal. EFCC probing $347 billion funds and summons foreign firms. We're having the EFCC is investigating at least $347 billion allocated to companies in Nigeria between January 2014 and June 2023, according to findings by The Punch. This came as fresh findings show that the anti-graft agency has extended its forex allocation probe to include some foreign firms operating in Nigeria. However, the CBN of Nigeria data the Central Bank of Nigeria, analyzed by The Punch on Wednesday, revealed that local and foreign companies in Nigeria got at least $347.49 billion from the Apex Bank to service their foreign exchange needs and obligations within the 10-year period. Now, this issue, we'll get an analyst to come look at it holistically. Let's understand what exactly is going on with this said forex scandal. What is going on with it now? We're having speculations earlier about a plan to move the Federal Capital Territory to Lagos. Now, the presidency has said that President Bola Tinubu's government has no plan to move the nation's capital to Lagos from Abuja. The special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Nanuga, gave the clarification yesterday. He explained that the recent controversy had been sparked by moves by the CBN and FAN, that's the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, to relocate their department from Abuja to Lagos by this had been misrepresented that particular situation. Onanuga said the movement of the FAN to Lagos had nothing to do with moving the federal capital, adding that the conspiracy was fueled by dishonest ethnic and regional champions. The movement of FAN, a department of the Aviation Ministry, to Lagos, where it was based before the former minister Hadi Sirika moved it to Abuja during the last administration, does not amount to moving the FCT to Lagos State. We're moving on shortly to Ibadan, where the explosion happened. 10 Ibadan explosion victims are still missing. This is according to the Residents Association. On Wednesday, they said about 10 people were still missing following the January 17th explosion in the area. It's reported that 5 people died and 77 sustained varying degrees of injury, and 58 houses were damaged during that explosion that rocked the Dejo Oyelese Street in Ibadan, Oyo State. Governor Seyi Makinde presented the preliminary report of the explosion to the president at the weekend. He said that the association's president, Muyiwa Bangbose, told newsmen that he thinks it is now more towards 8 and 9 persons now, or even 10, whom those in the neighborhood have talked about, who have remained missing. We took the map of the street to the government and tried to account for people house by house to get accurate information. If the person was seen yesterday and was not seen today, or you can't find him again, then you need to get worried. But he believes it's nearer 10 now. Well, we hope that NEMA, we hope that every single agency that is responsible for finding or getting those individuals out of that place will do the needful and get them out. Well, thank you so much for listening to the Front Page Review on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. My name is Gisere. Let's go ahead and pay some bills. Coming up at 8:30 is